Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Tech in 10, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs post-game show from the Ruston and Daily Leader. I am sports editor Matt Bellinson, coming to you after Louisiana Tech's 44-37 loss in overtime to the Jacksonville State Gamecocks here at Joy Stadium. Obviously, if you're watching, you know how this one ended. Louisiana Tech was up 37-30 with 4 seconds left, needing to defend 49 yards. And obviously, Hail Mary by Jacksonville State was converted properly, and they were able to tie the game. And then somehow their kicker missed the PAT to end it there. But in overtime, Jacksonville State, Louisiana Tech chose to start on defense in overtime, and Jacksonville State marched 25 yards for a touchdown, and then Louisiana Tech gained -1 yard in overtime to lose. There's so many directions I could go. I think obviously where you need to start is the Hail Mary. That's the only reason that it went to overtime. Sonny Cumbie told us post game that he felt like they had the guys there, but the ball just for one reason or another got behind them, which is clearly the whole reason you defend against a Hail Mary. I was kind of surprised that Louisiana Tech rushed 4 in that situation. Looking back at the play, I'm not really sure why you would probably send more than 2 or 3 in that situation when your whole objective is to defend the end zone. I get trying to speed up the quarterback, but at the same time, it's not like they needed to pick up a first down. I mean, they needed to go to the end zone. So that was strange. There's so many moments in this game where you look back at it and you say, well, that's where Louisiana Tech had a chance. I think back to when, obviously they recovered the fumble inside, Jacksonville State's 25-yard line. And I think 2 plays later, obviously Evan Bullock, who had a great night tonight. We'll get to him in a little bit, but interception in the end zone, so that takes away a potential scoring opportunity. And then really to start the game, offense wasn't really doing much until obviously a little bit picked it up in the second quarter, clearly with some nice plays to True Edwards and Jimmy Holiday and stuff like that. It was just. I want to say it's the same Louisiana Tech we've seen all year, but clearly, obviously, the circumstances of this loss are different, and it hurts more, and I get that. But at the same time, if you think back to how this game played out, outside of True Edwards making an amazing behind-the-back in-stride catch for 86 yards, this team had, I think, close to 10 yards of offense through 4 drives. Meanwhile, Jacksonville State was marching up and down the field for 75-yard drives 3 times. In the first half, and definitely uncharacteristic for this defense. But we knew coming in that this Jacksonville State offense was no joke. They were top 11 in the country in scoring, top 5 in rushing. You limited them rushing wise. What did they finish with? 191 yards rushing on 3.2 yards per carry. That's really good. They came in averaging over 370 yards rushing in league play. So you did their job as far as defending the run. But we've seen this multiple times now for Louisiana Tech defensively, where they rank so highly and they play so well for multiple games, and then you think back to the Tulsa game where Evan Bullock ironically gives you the lead to Eli Finley late in the fourth, and then Tulsa goes and marches down. You think back to the New Mexico State game where True Edwards gives you the lead late, and then you let them go back down and march it and then tie it. For whatever reason, this defense just has trouble defending late in games. I know obviously in those situations you kind of have to play less aggressively because you're obviously defending, more of the field and wanting to stop them from, getting upfield in a hurry. You can't obviously bring the blitz looks and things like that they're used to bringing. But at the same time, this is 3 games now where, your offense or your quarterback gives you the lead late, and you can't hang on. Louisiana Tech led in this game 37-28 with about 6 minutes to go. And loses 44-37. You just can't have it. And clearly the Hail Mary is the biggest part of it. It was a complete bust in coverage. I'm not sure how a guy just slips free on a Hail Mary. I don't know how a guy doesn't notice, hey, there's a guy right next to me, and now he's not there anymore. But it happened. Louisiana Tech lost. And, I think now going forward, I know still mathematically, this team can make a bowl game. They can win their last 3 games. I think we all know that that's not going to happen. Just based on what we've seen tonight, what we've seen, this program has not won back-to-back games since 2020. So I feel pretty confident in saying that they're not going to win their last 3 games, including at Western Kentucky, at Arkansas, and then home against Kennesaw State. You might win that Kennesaw State finale. Who knows? But I would be surprised if they go on the road and beat Western Kentucky and Arkansas here in the next 2 weeks. Um, I think this is a loss going forward. You have to think about what are the margins that are keeping Louisiana Tech from winning games like this. And I know the default setting for a lot of people is it's coaching, it's the head coach. We just move on from the head coach, and he certainly has made some decisions throughout the course of this season that are certainly questionable. Clearly their late game execution falters for whatever reason. They start games slow, but at the same time, I'm not going to blame this entire loss on Sonny Cumbie. He has nothing to do with what the defensive call. He has nothing to do with how guys defend a Hail Mary pass. Certainly again he's in charge of the whole operation, and so obviously the loss falls on him. And the win-loss record, he's now 9-24 as the head coach at Louisiana Tech. So it all falls on him. But at the same time, I definitely saw a team that was fired up to play. I definitely saw a team tonight that did not give up on its head coach, did not give up on the possibility of making a bowl game. Coming off that Sam Houston game, when you lose 9-3, you get inside the 10-yard line 5 times and you don't score a touchdown. I think it would have been really easy to point the finger, and I think it would have been really easy to come back home against a good Jacksonville State team with a lot more to play for than you, and frankly just throw in the towel and say, you know what, the defense, we've done all we can this year, but this is the game where we just kind of break. Obviously they gave up 28 points in the first half. That's definitely not what you want. But at the same time, I thought Louisiana Tech battled. I think in years past, and I obviously think back to the Jacksonville State game last year where Louisiana Tech quit. And they gave up, over 520 yards rushing, didn't really want to play that game and just kind of wanted to end the year. And it did. And clearly, obviously, Scott Power was fired as DC. There was definitely a part of me going into tonight that was curious about the response, because obviously coming off a tough loss like that and knowing what's in front of you, but also knowing that you haven't really executed to get to that point, I was really curious to see if Louisiana Tech was going to be ready to play. And they sure did. They played well. They obviously 4 seconds away from winning this game. It would have been the biggest win in Sonny Cumbie's tenure here, knocking off a first-place Jacksonville State team at home. You keep bowl eligibility pretty much alive, and then obviously you just let it slip through your hands. Again, I thought Evan Bullock played really well tonight. 266 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, obviously a bad interception, blindside hit on him, also fumbled the ball, which led to a Jacksonville State touchdown. True Edwards continues to be an all-conference player, 6 catches, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is without a doubt the number 1 receiver on this team. I think you can make an argument he's the best receiver in the conference, certainly based on what he's done week after week. And so it's a shame that Louisiana Tech wasted what was a really good offensive performance. I know obviously 2 takeaways and 2 turnovers in some costly situations hurt you. But the passing game was there tonight. Evan made some great plays under pressure. The run game is still not there. What they finished with 3 yards per carry. Murray Wiggins 67 yards rushing. I don't really understand, I guess, the Marquise Crosby lack of carries personally. He finishes with 9 carries for 37 yards and a touchdown. I feel like he's proven that in his limited carries that he can pick up, chunk yardage. He can pick up positive gains. And for whatever reason, he doesn't really get a whole lot of opportunities in this offense. And so maybe down the stretch here, he'll be featured more prominently. I don't really know. But like I said, it's a shame that offensively, after you just scored 3 points against Sam Houston, you come back home and you score 37 and you lose. It's just kind of one of those deals where I think if you're Louisiana Tech, you just got to realize that you're snake bitten. The defense finally kind of gave in, I guess, if you want to say. Obviously we're top 20 in scoring, total defense, a lot of categories, and tonight was going to be a big challenge with what Jacksonville State does well. But outside of really the fourth quarter, Louisiana Tech's defense held them down pretty much from what they have been doing, I should say. And so, going forward, I clearly, I don't really know what the direction is. I talked about this before. Ryan Ivey needs to make the call of what the coaching staff's future here is. Obviously, I'm sure from his standpoint, as long as I guess they're mathematically still alive to make a bowl game, I guess you could still make an argument that the staff could find a way. I don't personally see it. Like I said, I think when you lose a game like that tonight, I don't want to say it's going to break this team, but at the same time, when you play that well, and they did play well. They just did. They played well offensively. Defensively shut them down in the third quarter. You came in with 2 takeaways, had a safety. and then you lose it. I'm not sure how you get the guys to get back up. I'm not sure how you get them to get back up and play when you have to go on the road and play another first place team in Western Kentucky who historically has dominated you. And then you got to go on the road to Arkansas, and then you got to beat a Kennesaw State team that beat Liberty at one point in the year. So I think if you're Louisiana Tech, you just have to find a way to rally. Make sure that this loss doesn't splinter you, because I frankly wouldn't be surprised if it does splinter them, because when you feel like it's right there for the taking, and then you just don't execute down the stretch, I'm not really sure what much more you can do. Outside of just rally together and just figure out a way to finish one out, because this is now the 12th one-score loss in the Sonny Cumbie era, and obviously those losses all come differently, and this one's definitely going to probably hurt the most. And I just think if you're Louisiana Tech, you just have to find a way down these last 3 games to stay competitive and frankly just don't lay an egg. It'd be one thing if you just lost all 3 games and lost 2 of your next 3 and said, okay, you know what, we just didn't make a bowl game this year, and then we'll see what happens. If you just lay down, and if you just let these next 3 opponents just kind of run over you, that to me would be the ultimate sign that it's time for this coaching staff to move on. But that being said, Louisiana Tech played well tonight, played well enough to win up until probably the final 3 minutes of the fourth, and then obviously overtime. And they fall 44-37. Louisiana Tech is 3-6 overall, 2-4 in Conference USA play. That's going to do it for this edition of Tech in 10. For the Wrestling Daily Leader, I am sports editor Matt Bellinson saying thanks for listening. Have a good one.